Great. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks for your time today. Great to see you, Thomas and Gary, again, at least virtually. Hope everyone's doing well. And our Chief Technology Officer and my father is joining us today, Dennis. Wave, Dennis. And happy to talk about what we're doing at Infinium. As Thomas mentioned, we've been active here in the Sacramento region for over a decade. Dennis and I co-founded Grey Rock Energy many years ago, and Grey Rock has advanced to be the leader in an area called gas to liquids. Gas to liquids is converting natural gas, which includes flare gas, into fuels and chemicals. Many years of research and development, piloting, commercial demonstration with a large program in Toledo, Ohio, and then a number of years in launching commercially several projects here in North America, which have gotten to commercial scale and have proven out the gas to liquids technology. Grey Rock is still actively moving forward with a number of projects globally in gas conversion into fuels and chemicals. We have a number of active projects in Canada, some great international opportunities. Going back many years, we have been working on, at Grey Rock, CO2 conversion and CO2 conversion technologies. Dennis argued to Department of Energy 10 years ago under Recovery Act that CO2, carbon dioxide, which of course is a greenhouse gas, should not be sequestered or pumped underground, but really should be looked at as a product. And at the time, that was very innovative thinking for Department of Energy out of a very large multi-billion-dollar grant program that were all focused on sequestration opportunities. Dennis was able to talk DOE into giving us several $1 million to start working on carbon dioxide conversion. And that was the beginning of the Infinium technologies. We've advanced the CO2 conversion platform over many years of R&D and piloting and some work on how these units integrate together. But up until last year, I would say, we really didn't see the commercial opportunity for CO2 conversion. The economics were challenged. The tailwinds were not there on carbon mitigation strategies or carbon to products. But last year, with a number of factors coming together, we felt that it was the right time to spin out that side of the company. We launched it as Infinium. Infinium Holdings is the official name. And we were able, in a very short period of time, to close a round of funding that was oversubscribed and brought in several significant investors to advance the platform. So I'll be talking specifically about Infinium today, not about Grey Rock. There's a lot of history there, but Grey Rock is advancing and doing some very unique things globally. But we're extremely excited about our new platform, Infinium. We're adding staff here in the Sacramento region and elsewhere. Just brought on some new engineers and some project development staff. But appreciate the time today to share a little bit about Infinium. And Thomas, if I can, I will go and screen share here. Can everyone see that okay? Mm-hmm. So Infinium's platform is what we call the Electrofuels platform. We use two inputs to produce fuels and chemicals from the Infinium Electrofuels platform. The first is renewable power. We use lots of renewable power. That renewable power is used to generate hydrogen, green hydrogen, using traditional electrolysis, either alkaline or PEM. We do not have electrolysis technology. We partner with others that provide large-scale electrolysis systems. Okay. So again, Infinium has two feedstocks: renewable power that's used to generate green hydrogen using traditional electrolysis, and anthropogenic or human-derived CO2. Those feedstocks are used in our proprietary platform to produce what we call net zero carbon fuels and chemicals. The reason they're net zero carbon is we use CO2 that would otherwise be emitted to the atmosphere. The fuels are then combusted in airplanes, long-haul vehicles, and marine transport. So the CO2 is returned to the atmosphere. So this is a net zero carbon cycle in the utilization of CO2 as an input. The products that we produce that are interesting to the market: jet fuel. Jet fuel and jet travel are going to be one of the last to switch over as far as infrastructure is concerned. Very difficult to put a battery pack on a 747. Diesel, including marine for both long haul and marine transport. And then we do have some byproducts such as naphthas that can be used in the chemicals market for plastics production. But our main focus here is transportation fuels to get our customers' carbon intensity down, help Amazon and others achieve their net zero carbon goals in producing these net zero carbon fuels from CO2 and power. We recently announced about 2 months ago our fundraise close. AP Ventures is the leading hydrogen venture capital firm globally and led the round. They're out of London. They've invested with Greyrock several times. Super happy to have Amazon as a significant investor in this round. Amazon's Climate Pledge Fund is doing some very innovative things in focusing on decarbonization of transportation and other areas. Fantastic team, fantastic partner, and we're working very hard to get Amazon commercial volumes of fuels to help to hit their net zero carbon goal by 2040, which is extremely ambitious, and liquid fuels will need to be part of their equation in addition to other things that they're working on. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, a leader in CO2 scrubbing technologies, very focused on the hydrogen value chain today. Also a great team and very strategic in a number of projects that we're working on globally. A partner that we've worked with on hardware for our gas to liquids facilities for many years, Newman Esser Group out of Aachen, Germany. It's a 180-year-old plus company, family owned. They're a key industrial provider in the hydrogen economy and also an excellent partner strategically, as Europe is a major target for us for projects and for our electric fuels. And then Jeremy Grantham's Neglected Climate Opportunities Fund. Jeremy Grantham, one of the most well-known money managers in the world, has devoted a significant part of his net worth and foundation to supporting climate initiatives. And we've known the Grantham team for a long time and very happy to have them on board. So 5 investors, this round was oversubscribed, and but really feel fortunate to have such great partners as we work on our commercial program and next phase of growth. As I mentioned, we're leveraging a lot of the experience and then the CO2 conversion technology from Greyrock Energy. And again, CO2 and power are our feedstocks into these facilities to produce what we call net zero carbon electrofuels. As part of our development, we do have a number of projects under development, very focused in Europe, but there are other market areas that are very interesting to us. There are significant subsidies, grant funds, and low carbon incentives in Europe today for net zero carbon fuels. So we're working very closely on a number of initiatives. We will likely be announcing a major project that we're working on with partners in Europe in the coming weeks. So watch for that news, but many initiatives in Europe focusing on green hydrogen, low cost renewable power, and CO2 utilization. So nice ecosystem for a wave of our first projects. One of the reasons that we felt that it was time to spin out this platform was due to several factors. Number one, significant interest globally in CO2 reuse. I talked about that already. but renewable power prices have come down so significantly. They're now to a point where using renewable power as an input for hydrogen that feeds into our systems starts to make a lot of sense in areas where transmission could be very constrained. So you have a lot of high potential wind power areas, solar areas that can produce a significant amount of low cost renewable power, but those power areas are challenged in getting that power to market, to industrial centers, to population centers. And transmission limitations are a key limitation in cultivation of renewable power assets worldwide. What Infinium can do is locate at or near the source, and we can leverage that renewable power when it's lowest cost to produce our fuels. The fuels then can be easily transported to market, so we're not having to deal with that major infrastructure required to transmit that power from the production source to the consumption source. So that's a major driver for why we spun out Infinium in seeing renewable power prices come down below fossil fuel prices in many parts of the globe. On our end products, we focus on jet fuel and diesel for marine and on-road. Again, these are the fuels that help our customers get to their net zero carbon goals. They can use them in their existing vehicles today. These are what are called drop-in transportation fuels. They're chemically the same and even superior to fuels that are on the market today, except that they have this net zero carbon tag that, again, achieves those goals when they're used in vehicles today. In addition to California, there's a number of low carbon fuel markets. California, in fact, is the strongest low carbon fuel market globally under the LCFS program. It's a significant credit facility for incentivizing the use of a number of low carbon fuels, but Oregon, Washington, British Columbia, the EU are very close to enacting aggressive low carbon fuel programs. Again, on the European Union front, one of the reasons that our early projects are there are due to those incentive structures that can provide a subsidy for these low carbon fuels in the market today. A lot of demand drivers for these fuels, again, global climate change initiatives, significant tailwinds globally on CO2 market pricing mechanisms, pressure on firms, like you mentioned, SMUD's goal for being net zero carbon by 2030, a very aggressive goal, 9 years left. And that's driving a lot of interest in these fuels and products, and then impact investing and ESG growth in this sector are really driving the capital markets to look at carbon intensity, look at the greenhouse gas emissions profiles of a number of their investments, and that's creating a lot of demand for these products. You know, as Dennis has talked about for many years, even on the gray rock fuels, in addition to the premium carbon intensity benefit, there are some physical attributes of these fuels that allow for lower air emissions, significantly lower air emissions when they're combusted in traditional vehicles. Lower NOx, lower particulate matter, lower SOx and air toxics from combustion of these fuels. Dennis led a team a couple of years ago doing a study on air emissions in Beijing when you use a blend of these fuels in a traditional diesel pool. And I'm sure Dennis would be happy to send that paper out to the CleanStart program. But what it showed is that by just using a blend of these fuels in an air quality shed like Beijing, the air quality could be improved significantly without any vehicle changeovers. So just by changing the fuel that goes to the pump and is used in these vehicles. So an easier way than fleet turnout to start cleaning up air sheds like Beijing, maybe even California's Central Valley. And these are attributes that are beneficial above and beyond the carbon intensity reduction. Then as we look at the electrofuels category, we think we have a significant advantage in the global projects that we're developing commercially, as well as the integrated technology and leveraging that history that we talked about. There's a lot of other folks working on CO2 conversion for beneficial reuse, and we're in touch with a lot of them. We think it's fantastic that CO2 is coming to the vision that Dennis articulated 10 years ago, that it should be a product instead of a liability that's pumped underground. And when you can turn CO2 into a product where we pay for that CO2 because we're getting value out of it, this creates an industry that is capturing the CO2 and providing it to companies like Infinium that can use it for beneficial reuse, and that helps to mitigate CO2 emissions globally. So we start to see that ecosystem coming together in the last couple of years and rapidly accelerating in 2021. And that wraps my presentation. So happy to take any quick questions here if you would like.